Attention on this channel. We've got an important message. All observations and opinions shared here are for educational purposes only. This content is intended for adults. Viewer discretion is advised. Be advised that any individuals mentioned are not intended to suggest involvement in any crime.
Case by case, got the fire.
Ha!
Yo, you wanna talk about true crime? We start with the guide that flows. Digital footprints meet criminal defense, that's how this story goes. This channel's all about online evidence, the stuff they overlook. From live stream chats to deleted posts, it's all in the true crime book. My goal is to provide insight for the attorney in the darkest hour, to find the proof that can make a case or break a criminal's power. So whether you're a lawyer or a PI, we're diving deep in the mess, exposing misconduct and hidden truths to get to the very best leads. We break it down case by case, on the trail of the facts. We show how digital evidence changes case outcomes, we on their tracks. No rumors, no gossip, just the evidence clear and concise, shining a light on the shadows at any cost or price. What do we do?
Case by case.
What's the motto? We're here for the victims, the ones who were left behind. We're here for the families, giving them peace of mind. We follow the paper trail, the digital footprints and the timelines, connecting the dots, we're reading between the lines. We don't just talk theory, we show you how it works in practice. We're here to help you stay ahead of the curve, to get a new analysis. You think you're in charge, but we're here to find what matters most. We're giving a voice to the voiceless, like a digital ghost. Digital ghost, digital ghost. We break it down case by case, on the trail of the facts. We show how digital evidence changes case outcomes, we on their tracks. No rumors, no gossip, just the evidence clear and concise, shining a light on the shadows at any cost or price. What do we do?
Case by case.
What's the motto? From digital clues. The mystery, you wanna know the answers? We're dedicated to the chase, from the first look at the scene to the final resting place. We're here to find the answers, to give the victims their due. A true crime channel with a heart and a purpose too. We're here to build up, to expose the truth, and to shine a light on the darkest of deeds with all our might. We're here for the truth, we're here for the facts, and that's it. We don't chase the trends, we just chase the truth and never quit. We let the past speak for itself, we let the facts lay the ground. We're just here to be a voice, a tribute that is sound. Yeah, it's all for the truth.
Ha! Come on, come on. Let's go.
Their thoughts for you, yeah. Won't kiss the ring. Yeah. Come on. Let's go.
Set in the alleged ransom note for Nancy Guthrie as the desperate search for this 84-year-old mother enters its 9th day.
I mean, the whole thing is just tragic. The Guthrie family says they will pay, sending this heart-wrenching message to their mother's abductors over the weekend.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
So Matt Finn is live outside Nancy's home in Tucson, Arizona with the latest. Matt.
Good morning, guys. So today is the final day for the Guthrie family to pay out millions of dollars demanded by these alleged captors of their 84-year-old mother, Nancy. Now, yesterday, Fox Digital captured investigators using a pole to probe what appears to be a water hole or drainage pipe behind Nancy Guthrie's home here. Also on Saturday, Fox Digital captured investigators at the home of Savannah's sister Annie, apparently taking pictures on the property at night. Law enforcement in unmarked cars spent about 2.5 hours at the sister's house Saturday night, which is about 4 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home where we are. Now, on Friday, President Trump indicated there could be developments soon.
We have some clues, I think, that are very strong, and I think we could have some answers coming up fairly soon.
Is this a nationwide search? Is this a search going to Mexico?
I'm not talking about a search. I'm talking about a solution. We have some things I think that will maybe come out reasonably soon from DOJ or FBI or whoever that could be a
suspect.
Yeah, could be definitive.
Now, the Pima County Sheriff posting yesterday, the Nancy Guthrie investigation is ongoing. Follow-up continues at multiple locations. No suspects, persons of interest, or vehicles have been identified. No scheduled press briefings. If any significant developments occur in case, a press conference will be called. Now, that statement says no suspects or persons of interest have been identified. That's publicly. We know that law enforcement behind the scenes is apparently building a case here on the ground, and they could privately be following all types of leads. Back to you guys.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It's been a busy weekend for me. Welcome to Case by Case. I've been doing my best to stay up to date on all of the ongoing events this week with the Nancy Guthrie case. Today, I will be going live throughout the day periodically with updates for all of you, and today being the deadline for Nancy Guthrie's ransom to be paid. I do have a poll in the chat if you'd like to answer that. If you would pay, the question is, would you pay the ransom for your mother, whether you had received proof of life or not? I think that's something that I wouldn't struggle with at all. I would pay. It's just money. She's my only mother. I would definitely pay. Good morning, unindicted conspirator. Please, guys, share the stream. I'm also going to be pulling in some live stream with JLR Investigates, who has boots on the ground in front of Nancy's house. And we're just going to go over what we know so far about the case and get your guys' opinions and thoughts. And this is so sad. More fake buffoonery. What do you think is more fake buffoonery? You think the ransom is fake, Mitch? Let me see here. Let me add this to the stage here. We've got JLR Investigates on the ground, and he's watching. There's obviously this morning sheriffs at the house. Again, we don't know why. They were asked why they were there, and they, instead of just saying we're here to make sure no one goes on the property, they actually said we can't discuss that. So that leaves the door wide open to speculate. Are we going to see even more activity here today? More activity over at Annie's house today? Let me add some of his commentary in here.
Sheriff went around back.
So JLR Investigates is live on the front, along with Brian Inton. There's a lot of people waiting on the street here. I know they have moved the media back down the street and then allowed them back on the street again multiple times throughout this week. Yesterday, there was drone footage of, let's see here, let me turn him down just a little bit. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. This is live footage from JLR Investigates. If you're not familiar with him, go on over and visit his stream, like it, or stay here with me. We're going to go over the timeline, but we do see live footage right now from outside of Nancy Guthrie's house. Today is Monday, which is the 5 p.m. deadline is approaching. Good morning, everybody. Please like and subscribe and share the stream if you like the content here. For my normal channel subscribers, yes, episode 34 of The Vault will be at 1 o'clock today with Quester and Fungi. We got live feed here. We can watch what's going on. We know the sheriff is out in front of the home. We know, I believe it was Friday night. It was Pima County Sheriff's Office that was in Annie's garage and different areas of her home taking photographs. So that is concerning only because of, for those of you who have followed the case all week, we know that Ashley Banfield came out with a very big announcement that she gained from a source claiming that the sister's vehicle had been impounded and that her husband, Tomas, could possibly be a prime suspect. Now, we have the Pima County Sheriff's Office and the FBI coming out and saying, which is normal, that they don't have any suspects. They have no vehicles of interest. And right now we have no scheduled press conferences or updates coming forth today. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. If you guys would like to answer the poll question, it's up on the chat. If you would be willing to pay a ransom for your mother if you had not received proof of life. But let's talk about this timeline here. We've got on the screen, I've got a little small broken down miniature timeline of the days, but we'll just talk it out here. So we know on Saturday, January 31st, Nancy Guthrie took an Uber to her daughter's Annie's home, which from my understanding is about 7 miles away. And she went over there for dinner. They had dinner and they played games. And then we had this peculiar announcement at the press conference, multiple press conference, as the confusion of who took her home. First it was Tomas took her home, and then it turned into the family took her home. So we still don't have clarification on that. And I want to know why it's so hard to even come out and state who took her home, unless they're trying to downplay the fact that, you know, the husband, Annie's husband, could be a suspect, which I hope that's not true. I did a little bit of research on him. He seems to be a musician, and he also seems to be a science teacher. Nothing really nefarious in his background that's come up so far. But we know that they took her home. Here, let me turn him down just a little bit more. Welcome in, everybody. Please hit that like and subscribe and share the stream. But we do know that they took her home around 9:48, 9:50-ish. The garage door opened. She must have some sort of a smart garage door, or maybe she had a garage door opener on her person. I know that we take ours with us in our different vehicles, so maybe she has a garage door opener in her purse. They pulled in the driveway. Maybe that's her normal routine way in and out of her home, is through her garage. But we know that the garage door closed at around 9:50 p.m. And that is reportedly the last time that she was seen until the next day around 11 a.m. She failed to show up for church, and friends from church began to contact the family. And then around noon on Sunday, February 1st, 911 was called. And that's when she was officially reported missing. And the case has pretty much evolved from there. But we have Anna Lisette, that's news to me. I've not heard that. Someone in chat claimed that the son-in-law shared music files with the schmuck. I'm not familiar with the schmuck. Who's the schmuck in California who was arrested for demanding a ransom? I've not heard that. I've not heard if that's true. Again, we have, let's see here. Oh, let's remove that. We have a live news feed from JLR Investigates, who's out in front of Nancy Guthrie's house as we speak. And I'm going to go live throughout the day as needed if we have breaking news or a press conference. So stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to be on it all day since I had to work all weekend and I didn't get to go live about this. This is just a a wild, heartbreaking case. And I'm very curious about the cameras that they went back out and found on the roof. Oh, okay. Oh, that's the same guy? Anna Lisette, you're saying that's the same guy who turned in the fake ransom? Someone is claiming that Annie's husband shared music files with him, because I know that Annie's husband is somewhat of a musician, and he's also a science teacher. So, I mean, we have numerous reasons to believe that this, obviously, I can't imagine that this would, when it comes to abductions and kidnappings for ransom, I mean, you're dealing with usually one or two things, or I would say three. Either it's a child in a custody battle, which is more of the common theme, or a revenge case, or money. And we don't know, what. It's my understanding that Annie's house is in a trust, or was from a trust. Derek Kalina, or Kalela, and you believe that Tommaso was involved? I hope not. I really hope not. I mean, that would just, I mean, this is sad enough. So I really hope not. And wow, what a mess that would be for the entire family on top of this tragedy. So we know that there was blood on the front porch, and with it, to me, you do not believe that Tommaso is involved. Okay. Thanks for clarifying. See, I don't want to believe that he's involved, but it seems very, I've kind of kicked around the different reasons why they would have gone over to Annie's house. And based on media reports, they did impound her vehicle. And then we know that they were there on Friday night, taking photographs inside the garage. That is, that for me, that set off red flags, alarm bells, simply because of, Ashley Banfield's source, which, I have no reason to believe that she would put something like that out there if the source that gave her that information wasn't reliable. We know that Ashley Banfield's been on the air for years, decades, in fact, and she has acquired a lot of different sources over the years. So she clarified distinctly that she has a very valuable source that she trusts, and she put that information out, that there were multiple, as in plural, Nest cameras that were smashed. And I can only assume, based on the footage that we've seen around the house, that the Nest cameras would have been inside, because we only have seen so far a damaged, what do you call that? An outdoor floodlight that was damaged. And then we did see the FBI go out and get on the roof and remove two different devices. So it's more probable than not that she had cameras inside. And, we could be dealing with this second letter, which it didn't have any demands about the deadline. It was in response to the family asking for proof of life. But based on all accounts, that the media is claiming that in this note, there were things that were said that led law enforcement and possibly the family to believe that the person that's communicating with the news media is the real deal, or at least there's enough information that makes them think that they can't, not believe it. But that another thing that Ashley reported was that the back door was left wide open, which is very odd when we have blood on the front porch. So we know that Nancy Guthrie has had a lot of health issues. We know that it's been reported that she's on blood thinners. We don't know if the blood droplets here looks like it, based on all of the law enforcement who have come on and commentated on different channels, they've said that it looks like the person was stationary. So along with everything else that this seems to be kind of a staged scene, when they're leaving clues about the Apple Watch that Nancy had, about the specific location in the house of the Apple Watch, are these blood droplets put there intentionally to add a weight of seriousness to this case? Or do you guys think that Nancy was actually injured being removed from the home? I just don't understand why there would be a breaking and entering and something went terribly wrong and they would take the victim with them unless this was a pre-planned event. Hello, everybody who's new in chat. Welcome in. Welcome to Case by Case. Let me see, remove. We're going to add this back to the stage. We've got JLR live. What is the foliage by the blood? It appears that it looks like it's some shrubbery from around the patio or the front porch area. Now, I have tried to go on Zillow because it's my understanding that about a year ago, Nancy's house was on the market to be sold. And it's also my understanding that Annie purchased her home about a year ago. Now, if that's not accurate, I apologize, but that from the information that I've received, that's the order of things. So I don't know if Nancy decided to stay in her home because her daughter moved so close to her. But blood thinners are used. The point about the blood thinners is there is, let me see, I'll have to pull it up here. There's a photograph of Annie and her mother. And my mom used to do this all the time. She would, whether it would be doing dishes, getting in and out of, for example, the dryer, in and out of the dishwasher, getting things in and out of the refrigerator, where she would scrape her arm, like her forearm. It's like the blood thinners make your skin, makes it very thin, and you can bleed really easy. And there's a photograph of Nancy with Savannah where you see Nancy's arm and her wrist is almost a purple color. So, were they trying to struggle with her out this front door and her arm banged on the casing of the door? She has, I'm going to see if I can pull that up, Anna. But to me, that's an awful lot of blood for a scraping on the forearm. Like I said, was it intentional? Was it, a struggle going out the door? And why then would the back door be left open? And I don't know. I just feel like at nighttime, we've never really seen the back of Nancy's house at night, if it's lit up at all. I know that there are restrictions on lighting in that area for some different, I don't know if that is a neighborhood thing or if that's a county thing there. But there has been talk of that. So I don't know what the lighting is like in the back of her home, but if the back door was open, why would they come out the front to abduct someone? And they had to have left in a vehicle, yes. If not, what do you guys think about the fact that this is someone from in the neighborhood? I mean, that's one of the things that I've kind of kicked around all week. Like, is this somebody's son or an individual in the neighborhood who knows who Nancy is, knows of her daughter and what her daughter does for a living? Yeah, Anna, the wording in that last message was very cryptic and was very directed, and you know, there's a lot of different opinions about what that actually means, as far as the word celebrate, peace. This is the only way we're going to have peace. The family somewhat looks defeated while they gave this. Hi, Travis. How are you? Travis says, Travis is, for those of you who are new in the chat, Travis Williams is an attorney from Texas. But he says that the light restrictions are very common in the desert communities. Yeah, I've heard that. That's just strange to me. I live, in Ohio, so we don't have that. But good morning, Kathy. Good morning. Annie has a son, Kathy says, and he's not been mentioned. That is, you know what? I have not heard that. Do you know how old the son is? See, and the other reason I feel, I know Harvey Levin from TMZ talked about the ransom note that they got with the deadline. Yeah, those scammers do have to speak English, Anna, you're right. But he talks about, one, how articulate this person is, very good grammar, and the email that was sent in to TMZ through their contact page was very structured. So, but the majority of the communication has gone through the local news station there in Pima, or around the Pima area, which leads me to think that the kidnappers are in the area, and that is possibly, the news station that they are watching. Anna says there are huge government telescopes in the area, and that's why the light restrictions. Too much light and the telescopes can't see the sky. Okay. I had heard someone also comment on it about, had something to do with the stars and people seeing the stars, things like that. So that all kind of sounds like it goes together. Elena says, all is not how it seems with this family. I don't know I don't know if I feel that way about Savannah, but I think that Annie and her husband, just based on the police activity, which we're going to get into, we can talk about that, because, I don't necessarily want to believe that they were at Annie's house because they're suspects. Could it be that this second letter that came in provided details that only Nancy would know? For example, something that she pointed, being Annie's house was the last house she was at for dinner. What did they have for dinner? Did she take home leftovers? I know that when I cook and my kids come over, they're always leaving with leftovers because I always overcook. So was there something in Annie's home that Nancy provided information that the law enforcement then went back and was checking on? Annie is said to be a poet and a jewelry maker. That's good to know. So you think this is okay. So Anna says, I think this is a two-part crime. Whatever happened to Miss Guthrie, and then scammers demanding Bitcoin. So you don't think the ransom request is real? You don't think that there's really a kidnapping? Because drones are going up in front of Nancy's house.
Here, it's probably going to land.
We have drones going up over Nancy's house.
Land. No.
Kathy says, I don't trust Savannah either for some reason. I've seen all different kinds of, theories flying around the internet. We know that Savannah has done some interviews with some of the victims of the Epstein cases. That's really, as far as Savannah goes, that's really the only thing that has been brought to my attention in regards to, if there was a retaliation type of thing. But why would someone break in and take an 84-year-old woman if this is not for money? Ransom demands, Anna, you're right. Ransom demands were not made for 2 days. If the goal was money, demands would have been immediacy. Now, see, I kind of disagree with that only because the 72-hour time frame, in my opinion, gives time to put distance between the kidnappers and the crime. I'm talking, think about a lot of like CCTV, like the CCTV video cameras in the area. A lot of them run on a continuous feed and record over. So were they putting distance between themselves and the abduction? Are we, or was this just a crime of opportunity? So if you think that the kidnapping and the ransom is real, put a 1 in the chat. Well, the letter being addressed to Dear Savannah, I'm only assuming that whoever, if this is a real kidnapping, I think it's obvious that they would go kidnap Nancy Guthrie because of Savannah being who she is, knowing that she has money. It's not because Annie has the money.
I didn't go to Denny's. I actually went to my hotel.
Nellie says she thinks it would be immediate. See, I'm leaving that door of speculation open because everything about this, if it's a kidnapping, goes against the norm. The time, the age of the victim, the Bitcoin, the contacting the news media. Hey, Candy.
First light. So these situations, you always have to be on standby, but also,
So here, let's listen in to what JLR is saying for just a moment.
Total, because then I have to find out what's going on, what's if there's anything brewing, check the feeds.
Yeah, you're right about that, Annie or Anna. The Bitcoin, the conversion for that is 60,000. Which that right there, when I heard that, I was like, okay, so are we dealing with a very young techie person? Like I said, somebody who lives in the area, if they left on foot out the front door, because you could get to the driveway if you had a vehicle parked there from the back. So, yeah. Yeah, it does make it seem like it's a young person for the amount of money. But then again, if this is somebody that we have here in the USA, inadvertently operating with somebody from another country, $60,000 would be a lot of money to them. But it still seems low. The ransom in Bitcoin seems very low. I'm also going to check over here on, let me see if we have any Brian Inton updates. So far, Brian Inton has not posted today.
wait and see what's happening. The sun is starting to warm up.
Yeah, there's a lot of different opinions on how the Bitcoin transaction.
A little bit.
There's some who are saying it's going to be very difficult to track. Some are saying that it can be tracked.
Just a good clear-eye shot if something happens outside the home.
We have live feed from JLR Investigates. Yeah, there's a college close. There is a college that is close. Welcome in, everybody. If you're new to the channel, welcome to Case by Case. My name is Amy. Please hit that like button, share the screen, and if you like the content here, subscribe. Welcome in, mods. A young person did not take a Nana, in your opinion. Good point. But on the flip side of that, Elena, wouldn't an 84-year-old woman who has health issues, despite the fact that she has health issues, okay, wouldn't she be easy to control, easy to keep quiet, easy to restrain to a certain degree? And if, that little word with the big meaning, if this is a real kidnapping and for ransom, this has been planned out, and it's been an ongoing plan, and they knew Nancy enough to know that she required medicine. I would have to believe that. I have to believe that if this is a true kidnapping for ransom. And we don't know if Nancy had actual medicine in the house. We know that the family has stated that she needs medicine, but it's never been stated if there was medicine missing. Now, and I mean, think about that. You know, Annie Mae being so close, more than likely be in and out of the property there quite a bit to know where mom keeps her medicine. Is Annie a child who sees to it that mom gets to the pharmacy to pick up her medication? Or is Nancy independent? We know that she had a vehicle which was towed days after the fact here for some reason. But we just don't know. And despite the fact that the sheriff in Pima County came out very loose-lipped from the very beginning, it seems that he's been reined in and been told to zip it. Mary says that the law enforcement will be monitoring all of the Bitcoin exchanges and places that you can exchange Bitcoin for money. Yeah, I mean, I think that they can, but it seems though, if it was that traceable, why haven't they been able to pin down who owns that account that they provided? Because we've been told that the link for the Bitcoin account is a real account. And we know that they've talked about, you know, these emails being protected by a VPN. And okay, so Mary says, trust me, guys, $6 million in Bitcoin is $6 million. I do Bitcoin transactions every week. Okay, so I wonder why some of the media outlet has been claiming that the conversion is 60,000. So you're saying that the 6 million in Bitcoin is a true 6 million, which that's for a kidnapping for ransom is absolutely more realistic, that kind of money. Yeah, I don't think that we're going to, yeah, we're not gonna go to war over this case. No, but I do believe that this will be solved one way or the other. So I'm going to pull up, let me see if I can find that photograph of Annie and her mom. Her mom's arm. So here's a picture of Annie's mom's arm. And my mom's arm, not so much on my mom's hand, but on her forearm. It wasn't this severe, but it was in a lot of spots on my mom's forearm. So if this arm was to be banged or scrape against something, it would peel the skin, and because of the blood thinners, it could cause it can cause bleeding. And here, I'm going to pull up a closer view of her arm. So yeah, I don't. There's a closer look at her arm. So if there was a struggle going out the door, but then we did again. This goes back to Ashley Banfield. We're going back to Ashley Banfield claiming that there was blood inside the home, but the blood droppings on the front porch appeared. They're circular, they're 90 degrees, so it appears that the person was stationary, and the blood droppings don't appear to move down. Hey Karen, oh, you're fine, you're not late. And I'll be live at 1 again with episode 34 of The Vault, discussing the Delphi case. But the blood droppings don't go down the front of the walkway. So were these intentionally, was something done to Nancy and her placed here to lead to, if we're staging the scene and we're breaking cameras and we're using those facts to provide in these emails that are being sent to the news stations, could this be intentional to add seriousness to the case, or do we really feel that there was a struggle with Nancy and Nancy was injured? Welcome in, everybody. Please like and share the screen. We also have on the ground footage with JLR Investigates right now. He is live out in front of Nancy Guthrie's home. Hey, top chat. So, Mary, you seem to have a lot of knowledge about the Bitcoin. I do not, so I'm glad you're here. She says, so Mary has said that 60 million in Bitcoin is 60 million. And she says, if you have to go to an exchange to transfer your Bitcoin into dollars, or you can go to a Bitcoin ATM. However, Bitcoin ATMs have limits of a few $1,000s. wasn't there was just some really big scammers with some Bitcoin ATMs going on. Some elderly people were being scammed by the ATMs. People were having them deposit money or Bitcoin or doing something with the ATMs that ended up being a scam, and they lost all kinds of money. Kathy says her arms and hands do the same thing. So Mary also says you can walk up to a Bitcoin ATM and sell your Bitcoin for cash. You have to wait until it moves through the blockchain, and once they confirm it, you can then withdraw the cash. Is there a limit on that amount too, if you're selling Bitcoin to the ATM, Mary? How many young people commit kidnapping for ransom crimes? Well, we're going to find out, I guess. I don't know. It's been, I mean, when was the last time that we actually had a real live kidnapping for ransom? And we know that, like the Lindbergh case, they went through the media. And, you have to ask yourself, are they doing this for the money? Or are they using the news media and these contact forms on their websites to make it even harder to track where it's coming from? I don't know how that would work. If that would make a difference.
We do. You can see there's a media out here. They're going to do their reports, and we'll wait and see what's happening.
Anna says the blood reminds her of a nosebleed.
Walking around browsing the properties on the street, right along the street.
Here, let's take a listen to what he's talking about.
If there's any police presence, I went all the way down to the right. I'm about to go to the left and see what's happening that way. I don't know if I can pick up on anything. Just going around seeing what the buzz is. I want to keep the camera planted here. So I'll be back in a few.
So it appears, Jay, he's walking around. Yeah, in the Lindbergh case, but they did communicate with the media. They wanted it to be in the media for the Lindbergh case, and that's what I just wonder why they chose to do it this way. No, he's live right now. Yesterday, I'm going to pull that up too. Let me see here. Give me just 1 second. We're going to pull this up. Yesterday we had, let me see here. Let's take a look at the drone footage from yesterday. Nancy's backyard when they were going through the manholes.
Locking down the road at that point. Okay.
This was from yesterday. This is not live. This was from yesterday.
Venado, there's going to be squad cars there. We are going to be locking down the road at that point. Okay.
Hi. Has anyone? Yeah, I'll take. Yep. I got some over there as well, Sarge.
This is when they were moving people out of the way. There's another one that, let me see here. Kathy says she thinks the storm door caught her arm and caused it to bleed because there's flowers on the porch. Maybe someone was delivering her flowers, just a thought. I wouldn't think that they were delivering flowers at that time of night. But see, if you look at the garage right here in this drone footage, they could have gotten to the driveway. Obviously, if someone pulled in a car, they would have pulled all the way up behind this shrubbery right here next to the garage to conceal their car. And this is right now, let me see here. Is this live? This is only 44 minutes long, and this was from 2 days ago. I'm looking for, I have the drone footage from yesterday where they were digging in the backyard. Not digging, but they were using a really long pole to, you know, poke around down in the manholes in the backyard, which is another concerning red flag. Why would they be are they being told that Nancy's on the property or near the property? Here, let me see here. I'm going to pull up that drone footage from yesterday. So here is that footage from yesterday. I mean, are they going back out on her property and walking and looking around because they think maybe she's been put there? There's tons of media out there yesterday, and I'm sure they're still there today. This is not live, guys. This is from yesterday. I'm just trying to pull in all of the different angles and views that we can see. We do know that Annie and her husband are no longer staying at the property. They have left Annie's home, so they're not staying on the property. It's been said that Savannah is staying downtown in Tucson. But if we take a look, we can take a look at, here, let's do this. We can take a look here at, share my screen, Google Earth, there. Can you guys see my screen? The manholes that they were looking at, make sure you guys, can you guys see my screen? This is an overhead view of the neighborhood and over Nancy Guthrie's house. Give me 1 second here. It's 5820. And let's go through. This is imagery from 2025, but the manholes that they were looking at yesterday were in between back here, Nancy's property and the neighbors. And then it's my understanding that this second structure here that faces the grassy area is a guest house. And the door to the back is underneath this like cabana area here. So, and that back door was what was left wide open. So if the intruder came in from the back and they smashed the floodlight, maybe this woke her up. It's my understanding too that this is a ranch. This home does not have an upstairs, I don't believe. Maybe she woke up and encountered this person due to the sound, or did this person watch her enough to know she wasn't home and broke in while she was gone and was there waiting for her when she came home? But we do know that's probably not the case, seeing as how we do have the timeline of when the doorbell camera was unattached, which was I believe was 1:40 something in the morning. And the intruder, it seemed to have stayed in the home for about 40 some minutes before the Nest camera system detected movement. So that they do believe that the intruder was in the house for about 40 minutes, which is an awful long time. Was that someone telling Nancy, get your belongings? What are you going to need for a certain duration of time? Karen, you think that Savannah's paid for the body to be returned? Is that the impression that you got from the last video that the family put out? I know that a lot of people have gotten that impression. That's sad if that's the case. So let's bounce back over here. We're going to go back to yesterday's drone footage. So let's see if we can see where they were looking at these manholes. Now this footage was from yesterday. There was only, I believe, 2 or 3 law enforcement officers on the property at the time. Now there were more out in front. There were more vehicles out there in front. I bet they freaking hate these drones. People having these drones. They just can't get away from the media. Yeah, celebration of life. That's what a lot of people are leaning into. Good information, Giggle. Spontaneous bruising caused by an anticoagulant medication is ecchymosis. Large, flat, purple-blue patches occur when blood leaks from vessels into surrounding subcutaneous tissue, even without trauma. Right, but if the skin is ruptured, even from a slight scraping or a bang, like I was saying, my mom, especially when she would be loading the dishwasher and she'd be putting something in and either hit the top of the dishwasher or the rack and just gently scrape her forearm, she would bleed. Free Ricky Bay says that was her interpretation of the latest video from the Guthrie family as well. So do the majority of you think that when Savannah said, "We got your message and we understand," that this person has blatantly came out and said, "Your mom is no longer with us"? Mary says you can buy as much or as little as you wish. And does anyone know, a good question, hold on. Good question, Mary. Hold on one second. Yes, they are married. Annie and Tomas are married. Yeah. Giggle. My mom would do the same thing, self-scratching. Yeah. If she wore a watch, she stopped wearing a watch because of if she clipped it on something, it would cause her to bleed. Hi, Mary says, Amy, you mentioned something I was thinking. Why didn't she wake up when those floodlights were smashed? If they were smashed while she was sleeping? See, we don't know. We don't know if she did wake up or not. We just don't know. But I am a firm believer that just like in the Idaho 4 case, for a month, they let us think that they didn't know Jack. And then all of a sudden we find out they knew all along. They were tracking this all along. Which is why I think that we're seeing all of this different activity everywhere, is because they're investigating either tips, information that they've uncovered, or they are going back to both homes based on information that was provided in this second letter. And I personally don't understand, like, okay, is a person who kidnapped an 84-year-old woman for ransom going to have a come to Jesus moment and say, well, let me be honest now and tell you that she's actually passed away? Wouldn't they continue with a lie in order to get paid after doing all this? This case is so bizarre, and it's heartbreaking to think that I just have a soft spot for the elderly to begin with, because especially any of them who fall as a victim in a tragic death, you think they lived all these years on this earth to, be unalived in the worst imaginable circumstances. That's awful. That's awful. Giggle says the Daily Mail reported that the head detective has only 2 to 3 homicides as experience. It takes years to learn to deal with something like this. And, and I would almost bet you that there are investigators across this country who have 20 years of experience, 30 years of experience, and have never had experience with something like this. This is out of the ordinary for sure, which is why I think obviously we're all interested in how this plays out, how it happened, who's behind it, how it was planned, or, are we going to find out that this was a breaking and entering gone wrong and something happened and they took the victim with them? That's just even unheard of. The family. Okay, so Karen says, we know that you're trying to be kind, and it's, and in a situation like this, it is, as much as you want to be, choose your words wisely, and show the utmost respect for not just the families but the victim. This kind of a case raises awareness for, both of my parents have passed, but my mother did live with me for 12 years. So I know how encumbersome it can be. And my mother was sick for many years. I know how encumbersome it can be for an adult child to take on the responsibility of taking care of an ill parent. But at the same time, you have an obligation to your parent to stay involved with their life and make sure that they're looked after and they're kept safe, especially when they're getting up there in age where, accidents inside of a home, a fall, it's common for older people, especially in that age, to, break a hip. They have means and access to getting help. Yeah, exactly, Kathy. If you have cameras, make sure they're activated. Make sure they're working. And, I've really, really wondered with, this is something too, that with Savannah Guthrie being who Savannah Guthrie is, okay, and I don't believe that she lives in the same state as her mother. Not 100% sure, but with her having the amount of money that she has, wouldn't her mother have some sort of outside of an Apple Watch, some sort of a device attached to, I don't even know if they make such a thing. I'm not sure. Do they make any, is there any kind of a monitoring system for a pacemaker outside of an Apple Watch that doesn't necessarily have to be connected like by a Bluetooth? You would have thought, Mary, that if she would have heard something like that, she would have dialed 911, but apparently, and we don't know when that camera was broken, if it was broken before the person broke in, if the person was outside while Nancy was gone. It seems odd that the doorbell camera was disconnected at 1:40, what was it, 1:40 something in the morning. It's just really, this story is really bizarre. And this person reportedly being in the home for 40 minutes, I feel kind of leans towards a level of comfortability. Yeah, I think the feds, yeah, and yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They have devices that can, basically they're like a panic button. But I'm talking about, I don't know. I just feel like is there, I need to look into that, really. I should have looked into that before I went live, actually, to see if there's some sort of a system to where, so I know that there's been people that I know whose parents have had pacemakers, and, it's like every 10 years or so, they have to go in and have it replaced, or the wiring or the batteries replaced, and it gets checked out, kind of like an upgrade. Is there no way now to determine if Nancy's pacemaker is still working? Or is that only through a Bluetooth connection on a device that she would have to have on her person? So Karen says when a pacemaker is fitted, the hospital notes the serial number. So when they update it or tweak it, they know it's the right one. Kathy says one of her cameras connects to 911. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I know some people just can't afford to pay for that monitoring system, but there are a lot of home camera devices that you can have it, uploaded to the cloud, that you don't necessarily have to be paying for a monitoring service. And I think that's where the problem falls here, is that her video footage wasn't being uploaded to the cloud. Now, how lucky would one have to be to not only pull this off, but none of the cameras captured it and saved the video footage? So a defibrillator. So Giggle, you're saying that a pace. So for everyone in the chat, Giggle, can you explain what a defibrillator is exactly when it comes to a pacemaker? CH Just says use Bluetooth Low Energy, BLE, or radio frequency to send data to bedside monitors or smartphone apps. This allows physicians to track battery life and heart function remotely. But she would have to be connected to that device, correct? She would have to be connected to that device. And if she's not, then they don't have a way to monitor her pacemaker. So let's bounce back over to JLR Investigates and see if the view from outside of Nancy Guthrie's home has changed. I'm also going to do a quick search and see if we have any new reporting out there that we can pull in so everybody can stay in one spot. If you're new here, welcome to Case by Case. My name's Amy. Please, if you like the content here, like, subscribe, share the video. Doesn't look like there's anything really going on over here except, you know, there's a sheriff outside whose lights are on. I do know from earlier reporting that, you know, we do know that the family did hire private security to monitor the property. Yeah, I agree. I do believe it's family oriented. It seems that way, like somebody who knew this property, someone who knew Nancy. Giggle, thank you for taking the time to put that in there. Giggle says an implanted cardioverter defibrillator, ICD, is a single device that monitors heart rhythm and provides electrical therapy, delivering gentle pacing for slow rhythms and strong shocks. Does the ICD allow for a physician to monitor her pacemaker from, say, a medical facility, or is it through an app or just a Bluetooth connection? That's what I'm curious to know. Is there something that, say, the family knows that if this is a real kidnap for ransom, that the kidnapper wouldn't know, that they have a way to monitor the pacemaker? I'm going to check for some updates here. As of right now, there are no press conference or updates scheduled that I'm aware of today. Let's see here. Doesn't seem to be any more updates out there going on. So Karen says you have to be at a medical facility for them to be able to look at those, to look at the pacemaker to get that information as it's being monitored. So somebody had mentioned that, let me see if I can pull that up, that the FBI, when they were on the roof, that we did see them remove a camera. But then also I heard reportings that they had removed a recording device from somewhere, or a possible recording device. And okay, here we go. I'll pull this one up. So we seen the FBI agent here on the roof, the blonde up here in the left, up on the left, which I believe that would be the guest house. And I don't know if the blue door that we see here on the back of the house is the back door that was left open. I believe there's multiple back doors there. But we see her removing, but my understanding is they removed 2 devices. So what sent them back out here to find this device? Were they told that they missed it by family, or did the second note mention this? And what did it capture? But that looks like a camera that they removed. So we have live footage from JLR Investigates. He's out in front of Nancy Guthrie's home right now. I bet the neighbors out here are just fit to be tied with all of this. Yeah, I don't, Gilletta, I don't know why they took down the crime scene tape. I mean, they had to have known with who this mother is that this was going to be a media circus out here. They had to have known that. Anna, where did you get that information from? Anna says it has been said that the roof was recently redone or worked on. That is true. And I also read that she had some electrical work redone on her property. And there was some suspicion. They were looking into some of the contractors. So let's see. You know what I think is, let me see if I can pull up. We'll go back to Google Earth and see if we can get a street view from the property and work our way around the property and see which doors. And remember that the footage that is on Google Earth is, so let me see if I can get a street view. So it doesn't appear. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe we can. Hold on a second here. maybe we can get a street view. 1 second. Okay, can you guys see my screen here? Okay, we're going to try to get a street view and go down to the property and see if we can get a look at the back door. No. So we're right here, 5820. It won't take us all the way down to the street. No, sorry, going the wrong way, going the wrong way. Going the wrong way. Sorry about that. Doesn't really give us a clear image of the back of the house. So we know there's a door here. There's a door there. And there's reportedly a door under here, which is kind of a blurry view. I can't believe we don't have a better view on Google Earth. Let me check on the chat. Yeah, they were talking about the roof being recently redone, or some work being done on the roof. And the roof does currently look like it's nice and clean and bright, like it's new. But we know that the camera was right here in the exact spot. Camera is right there. Okay, where did it go? I just put it there. So here's the side of the house with the garage. They would have had a way. They would have come right out that back door back there and came right around to the garage. So why would they leave a back door open and then come out the front? These are some beautiful properties. Look at these houses, the landscaping, even though it's desert. Kathy says that in Arizona, they have to be resealed every couple of years. Is that because of the heat? I would imagine that would be because of the heat. Yeah, I believe the first day or two, Gilletta, they did search. They did search, but I haven't seen, they've been more in and around the property, in and around the house. Just checking JLR's channel. There's not a whole lot going on over there. There's a car, the sheriff's car, still sitting out in front of Nancy's house. The media did ask the officer who was in that vehicle what he was doing, and he basically said he was not allowed to discuss it. So if he was there just to keep an eye on the property, wouldn't that be an easy say? So JLR just said that he was talking to a neighbor in the back, and the neighbor in the back believes this was a targeted attack.
Here. Go right here.
Here, we're going to take a listen in to what's going on out in front of the house.
I'll show it to you. This was up the road, top of the road, onto the left. There was two dudes in a truck. I don't know. Just
Ruh-roh, his feed is breaking up.
Poles, look.
Were they told?
And then they were so worried about the drones.
Were
Probably
they?
some sort of contractor that was doing something at the house or something, or brush or something.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Swimming pool people, pool cleaners.
Out in the middle of the desert?
No, I only say that because they have poles, you know, and yesterday he's searching around poles here. So I don't know what that was about. Probably unrelated, right? It's not law enforcement. These are private people. And then they were like, pole, drones up, drones. But that's where I was at. I was up at the top of the road kind of looking like, who's that truck? Because it kind of like just kind of like covertly came in. But keep in mind, folks, this is a residential neighborhood. There's a lot of contractual work going on, things like that. I appreciate the support. Thank you very much.
So
thank you.
I wonder if law enforcement was told
so now I spoke to
that she was somewhere in the area.
Both are not concerned for their safety. Other woman said she got a gun. And the guy that you just saw walking the dog, he's like, I'm not worried. This was a targeted attack. I'm not worried. I said, aren't you fearful, man? For your safety? I was walking with him. I was up there at the top of the road just talking to him.
Yeah, Anna, I heard the coyotes out there. They were loud.
So two neighbors, not concerned at all. Did you bring the cone? Remember the cone? No cones out here.
Well, you know, law enforcement.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna see what else I can find and uncover.
Law enforcement did say that they made some mistakes, especially by taking down the crime scenes at the beginning.
Because think about this: if this happened, if this was your neighbor, would you be scared about you and your children?
I think that I think that was a huge mistake, simply because of the fact of who the family is.
So, just shows you where people's minds are at.
No, he didn't go on a neighbor's roof to get that footage. No, he's standing out in front.
And the people out there walking their dogs, you know, just their neighbors walking their dogs.
Uh-oh, she's being stopped. Or is she? Is he going to talk to her? Nope, I guess not. So I tried to look up on Google or on Zillow, actually, the address. Look at all these neighbors out here walking their dogs. Oh, come on. Are these nosy neighbors? But I tried to look up on Zillow so we could actually go through the house looking at, but her property doesn't have photos from the inside. Some of the neighbors do. Beautiful homes, big, wide open spaces. Yeah, just because her pacemaker separated from the Apple Watch doesn't mean that she's expired. It just means that she's out of range. Yeah, they say lots of neighbors are suddenly walking their dogs all the time. Of course they are. I mean, it's their neighborhood. I wouldn't feel like I would have to walk my dog to go out and want to see what's going on. But I mean, I just wonder if we go back over here. Let me see here. We can do a like we know that they searched. Let's look at the neighborhood as a whole. Isn't there a Circle K? Isn't that where they were searching? Excuse me. So right here is the Circle K, but there's supposed to be two of them. So that's not that far from Nancy's house. They went there to collect some video. So here's Nancy's house. Excuse me. So the Circle K that they collected video from wasn't that far away, but this house right here appears that their front, this is interesting right here, but I would almost bet you if they had a camera right here on 2035 at nighttime, they wouldn't be able to see across the yard. But it appears that the front of that house right here, the front, because the pool is in the back, the neighbor here, their front door faces Nancy's backyard. So I wonder, what if they have a Ring doorbell, if it captured anything at all, or if she had a floodlight lit up, if the camera captured the floodlight going out, being busted. There's going to be so much information that comes out when it does finally come out. So there's not a large amount of space in between these two properties. There doesn't appear to be. She's got another, looks like another sliding glass door right here, the bottom left corner here. The neighbor is, let me see if she's got, so the house is across the street here. So it's like a cul-de-sac across the street from her. So one of these houses here could have captured a vehicle, possibly, at least taillights. I mean, if someone's driving through on North Camino Escalante Street with their headlights off, you know, their taillights would still be seen, wouldn't they? The person would have pulled in right here and when it would have went up here next to the garage. Oh, now we're getting a street view. Oh, uh-oh. Here we go. It just doesn't get, I can't get a street view from the back. So we've got this cul-de-sac here, but there's so many trees. There's a house right there. Huh. All right, I'm coming back into chat. Yes, I believe we can. Hold on, I can pull that up. Someone's asking if we can see the roof camera on Google Earth. Yes, I was able to see that. Hold on. Let me get out of here really fast. Okay, we're going to go back. Nope, I don't want to go back to Street View. Come on. Nope. I did capture the camera. The camera is, okay, why is it's not letting me move around here. The camera was right there where my mouse is. You can see my mouse. And you can see it right there, right next to that awning that appears to come off this building. So how the FBI missed that, or how they missed that on the first search, I have no idea, because it seems like it was pretty much right out in the open to be viewed. See if I can get it. Yes, you can see it right there. Can you guys see it? The camera? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Case by Case. My name's Amy. We are just keeping an eye on the abduction and kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie, or the possible kidnapping for ransom abduction. We don't know. Anna says there's a report that law enforcement is monitoring Bitcoin ATMs in the area. Well, Do you think it would be in the area, or do you think it's a foreign account being sent somewhere else? So there doesn't appear to be any current updates for this morning. Let me check one more. Let me check one more area. I don't think that even Brian Eaton. Nope, Brian Eaton hasn't gone live this morning. So what we're going to do, if any ransom is paid, I guess it's withdrawn in a rogue nation somewhere. Then what can anyone do? 6 million can buy a lot of terrorist supplies. That's an awful thought, isn't it? JLR is still live outside of Nancy's house. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull away for a little while. I will go live again, especially if there's any updates. I'm going to keep track, and I'll bring you the updates as they come. Case by Case is the channel. If you're new here, please hit that like and subscribe. I will be back on at 1 p.m. With the 34th Delphi Vault episode, where we discuss in depth the Delphi case. We've been covering that here on the channel for a long time. So if you're interested in that case, join us. You're welcome to join us. But I'm home all day and all evening, and today is the deadline for the ransom to be paid, which makes my heart race a little bit to see what's going to happen and what's going to transpire throughout the day. All we know is that there was blood on the porch. I will post this timeline. It's a brief timeline on the community page. And yeah, when is the next update going to be? We haven't had an update from law enforcement since Thursday. I will go live if there's a press conference. So yeah, welcome in everybody. And Surviving the Survivor, Anna says, Surviving the Survivor channel interviewed a kidnapped expert who worked in Iraq. Very interesting, the number of people kidnapped and the impossibility of rescue and who pays ransoms. That was my poll question. If you're new in the chat or you haven't answered the poll question at the top of the chat, it's pinned up there. Please answer it. I asked whether or not if you would pay a ransom for your mom if you had not received proof of life. My answer is yes, I would pay it no matter what. So today is going to be a pretty active day on the channel. Woohoo! So there's plenty of coverage out there. I'm just going to try to bring you just as much current information as I can. So make sure you answer that poll question. I'll see all my Delphi community at 1, and we'll be back live shortly. So just keep an eye out. All right, guys, thanks for joining me for a while. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.